Well, let's just jump in, dude.
Yeah.
So, just a you and me podcast,
No guest
man.
today. It's been a while.
Yeah, we did a little bit of testing today, and it went well. I think. I guess.
Testing? Are you talking about product design?
Merch
coming soon?
Well, that too, but I just also mean testing as far as our new equipment that
Yeah, we're
our
still
new
working that
changes, which is exciting. We're working it out, but really that was like the purpose of not having a guest today was just because we wanted to do this. But I don't know. I kind of like being able to. It's nice every once in a while just kind of sitting down here with you, just you and I, just kind of talking shit to each other a little bit, just kind of doing our thing. But first of all, man, we got a little. I mean, I'll shout it out, Monkey Shoulder. I think it's our new favorite. Shout out to Doug. Thanks, Doug.
Yeah.
Thanks for getting us addicted to having whiskey all of the time now.
I basically kicked alcohol before that.
Yeah, and now it's like, I don't know.
It's nice.
Almost wouldn't be the same kind of podcast without a little bit of Monkey Shoulder. It's nice. I'm not always like a huge proponent for whiskey, but we've already like talked about like me like in my palate change and just how I've just decided I liked whiskey and bourbons and stuff, but it's still tough. Like there's still bad whiskeys out there. There's still like tons of.
What was it? It was Crown Royal Black that I had, and I swear it just tasted like.
So I think Crown Royal is actually rum, huh?
Is it? I thought it was some kind of whiskey or bourbon or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's rum.
Whiskey.
Yeah.
No,
it's
it
whiskey.
is a whiskey.
Canadian whiskey.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
But I got Crown Royal Black just for the bag.
Yeah.
To make a shift boot out of, and I never did finish that bottle. Came nowhere near. Gave it to my mom. She never finished it.
We should try it again because I feel like
it might still be in my parents' fridge. That thing's like 10 years old now. But yeah, it was not good.
Yeah.
Although I've never been a whiskey person
until we found Monkey Shoulder.
Well, until we found someone who knew what they were doing with whiskey.
Yes, yeah, which was fun. And again, thanks, Doug.
Yeah. Shout out Doug.
Shout out Doug, man.
Get you back on here.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I'm and like this specifically. I mean, again, like no plug. I mean, I now feel like I'm plugging it, but like this, I feel like
they are not sponsoring us.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yet.
But they should. They should. But just as such a well balanced, like easy drinking.
I'm not even gonna try to describe it because I don't have the palate.
Well, I mean, I would just say that like I think
it's good.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is it doesn't have that. I think it's because of the proof, is what Doug was saying. Is that like the proof is a little bit lower, so you get a little less of that like alcohol bite.
Well,
and
it
it's
wasn't
still
even
spicy.
the alcohol bite that bothered me about Crown Royal. It almost tasted like anyone who has tried whiskey is going to laugh at me, but I swear the only way I could think to describe it, and again, we're going back like 10 years, was take the taste of like bread and then just dial it uncomfortably high.
Yeah. Now
it's just this weird, dry, bland taste. I just was not a fan.
Yeah, and
there was alcohol burn on top of that, but
right. But yeah, it's like I'm okay with that the taste profile, and I think that's what I look forward the most to. But it's obviously like everyone does, but like obviously this still has like the burn. It's still there. It definitely hits you, but like it's not like overpowering. Where like if you're not like one of those like connoisseurs, you can still taste everything in it.
Yeah, it's got a spice to it.
Yeah. It's not something like, we're going to get tired of, We've already done pretty well in the bottle.
This was a new bottle. We've been drinking this a little bit
allegedly
before we started.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Mellow vanilla with spicy hints. I'm
not getting that. Not getting that
I'm
at
getting
all.
The spicy hints. I'm not sure if I'm getting any vanilla.
Yeah, it's definitely spicy.
It just kind of tastes like whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Scotch whiskey.
Yeah, unfortunately, any whiskey connoisseurs, including Doug, is probably, if he watches this, is just like cringing at my description of this.
Well, that's
just understand that I enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all subjective. Come on, but well, speaking of drinking, now it's not getting that too soon. God forbid copyright happens, but All right, let's just jump right into this the Boeing whistleblower.
Yeah. Apparently, being a Boeing whistleblower is worse for your health than smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, they're dropping like flies, bro.
Well,
It's unfortunate. I mean, like,
if I had a nickel for every time a Boeing whistleblower died inexplicably, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Yeah. I know. I wonder how many like non-whistleblowers die in comparison to the ones that are talking
just
shit.
The general death rate for Boeing employees.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the first guy obviously, committed suicide. Allegedly. And then the second guy, I don't know if you know anything about this.
I got nothing on it.
No, he died of a very sudden infection. He wasn't feeling well for about 2 weeks. Went to the he went to the doctor, like urgent care or something first.
For 2 weeks?
And they told him he had not pneumonia. I forget what it was. It was like some minor illness, and they gave him some medicine, and then like shortly after that, he ended up going to the emergency room where they found out that he had influenza B, and then that turned into like MRSA, and then he developed pneumonia, and then he died. So,
Yeah.
if two Boeing whistleblowers committed suicide, that'd be too suspicious, obviously. So now they've moved on to chemical warfare.
I mean, allegedly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, it does not look good for Boeing.
No, it really does not.
Yeah.
And this, I guess we should say for like full transparency, this guy wasn't a direct Boeing employee. He worked for Spirit. I forget their whole name, but Spirit's like in the name. It's not Spirit Airlines. That's an airline company. That's different.
Yeah.
But
manufacturer.
but Spirit is a major supplier for Boeing, and Boeing has been like kind of negotiating just buying them outright. So there is very close ties to Boeing.
Interesting.
But this guy was blowing the whistle on. He was claiming that there were multiple defects with the 737 MAX, which already is plagued with issues.
Yeah.
And Spirit management was just basically ignoring him. He also claimed he missed like an issue with the tail fin section. I think Spirit makes like the fuselage for the 737. But he missed an issue with the tail section, and he notified management, and he missed that because he was busy chasing down an issue with misdrilled holes in a bulkhead.
Whoa.
So he's going after that, and then later realizes like, oh crap, there might be issues with the tail section. I gotta tell management, and then apparently Spirit management did nothing about it.
Whoa.
Just completely ignored it. So he was blowing the whistle on that kind of stuff, and suddenly died from a serious bacterial infection and pneumonia.
Yeah, and it says like it's sudden, but it was also, I mean, it took like 2 weeks.
Well, he was feeling ill for 2 weeks, went to the hospital, and then very quickly degraded from there.
So, I mean, if you wanted to play conspiracy, like maybe he did just actually get sick, and then
when he was in the hospital, it was like, oh,
they
have
were
an
like,
opportunity.
hey.
And, the CIA heart attack gun comes into play or something.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, maybe this guy doesn't make
or,
it.
There's those occasional cases where, like, a spouse poisons their partner slowly by, like,
oh, yeah,
putting, like, arsenic in their food or something.
Yeah.
And over time it builds up until they eventually
yeah.
suffer catastrophic organ failure or something and die.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they always figure that stuff out, though, too, right? I think we're pretty good at figuring that out.
Yeah.
As long as an autopsy is done.
The guy's wife requested an autopsy. It could be a couple months before it comes out, but by then people have forgotten.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, yikes.
So that's fun.
Yeah.
But hey, Boeing's spacecraft, their Starliner, is supposed to be flying in like July, so June or July. One of the
Starliner?
Yeah. It's a capsule to take astronauts to the International Space Station.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. So you know how SpaceX has Crew Dragon, which is what we use to send astronauts to the International Space Station right now?
Now I do.
How did you think we were getting astronauts into space?
I mean, not that specifically. I knew they weren't walking. But
are you surprised that the one capsule we've been using for the past several years is from SpaceX?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm with that. I just didn't know that one specifically. I don't keep up with the terminology, but I appreciate you bringing me in.
But so NASA held this competition where they basically put out their requirements, get astronauts from Earth to space station, and they were going to award like minimum 2 companies a contract to develop landers and send astronauts up there. And they wanted it to be a competition. It was fixed pricing, which is unusual because NASA previously would do something called cost plus, where they're like, okay, well, you gave us a bid, you said it was going to be this much, but if you have any overruns, we'll pay you more, just to ensure that they develop the technology.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can see how easily abused that
Oh yeah,
can
yeah,
become.
yeah.
Essentially, if you never finish your product, you just keep getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they
And
used
everybody
to do
just pitches
things.
their bid into the dirt, hoping that they get pulled out by the end.
Well, the thing is, like, you don't even have to pitch your bid into the dirt because everyone's pitching crazy bids because they know
okay.
NASA's going to pay.
Oh, damn,
Yeah.
totally different market. Mm.
Yeah, but now they're moving to fixed price contracting, which is what you say it's going to cost. That's all we're paying.
Oh no.
And SpaceX put in their bid, and Boeing put in a bid, and a couple other companies, Sierra Nevada, I think, for their, what do they call it? Dreamliner or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
I forget. Dream Chaser, maybe. But Boeing and SpaceX won. They were supposed to be done at the same time, and they wanted 2 because they wanted redundancy. If a problem crops up with one, they have a backup.
Mm-hmm.
And SpaceX has completed their initial contract, and the Boeing one has yet to fly an actual mission, and will be flying astronauts for the first time this year in June or July.
Mm.
And you know how the door plug fell off that Boeing 737?
Yeah.
Yeah, during the last test flight, uncrewed test flight, as they were wheeling it out to the launch pad, a window panel fell off
Oh my.
while it's going down the road.
God.
So yeah, they're going to be launching.
Yo.
They're going to be launching their spacecraft with people on board for the first time this year.
Who's getting on? Not me, dude. Like, can you imagine being like the guy or gal who's getting on that thing?
Uh-huh.
Bro, life insurance policies better be big.
They better be paid up too.
You gotta be paid up. Oh no. That's the craziest shit, man. I would not want to be like I would get on a spacecraft or a spaceship craft. Yeah, SpaceX craft for sure, but I would at least feel like more comfortable, but
Well,
man,
the
I don't
SpaceX
have,
craft has flown several times now,
Right.
and they haven't had any major issues. They've had a couple
Yeah.
small issues, but they've all been ironed out by now.
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, I can't imagine. I mean, I would never go, but dude.
Yeah, if
You know,
I
and
was,
it sucks to say that clearly Elon and SpaceX have got a monopoly on just how well they're doing things, but I mean, when it's well deserved, it's well deserved, And
Oh, yeah.
if anything, all these companies should just start working with Elon to learn from Elon. That's how that should look. And
well,
I know
here's
it's
the thing:
a competition.
everything he's done isn't well. Let me rephrase this. Everything SpaceX has done, because Elon, while I personally believe he has had decent actual involvement in SpaceX, because that was his passion project for the longest time, but everything that SpaceX has done isn't even super
Close.
revolutionary in terms of technology.
Oh yeah, sure, and I could see that, but also I think that there is a huge portion of how you do something that makes it revolutionary.
Well, again, everything they've done is shit that's been done before in other
Yeah,
industries. They
but
just
it's just-
applied it to rocketry.
yeah, and
on
just
top
how
of
you
that-
carry a business and how you carry for
Yeah.
yourself with employees.
On top of that, Starship has some novel technology in it that
Yeah.
no one else has tried yet.
yeah,
But the Falcon 9, which is their workhorse rocket that launches astronauts, launches satellites, they're gunning for over 140 launches this year, and they're kind of on track to make that.
yeah,
Nothing about that rocket is special. Nothing about how they build it is some new revolutionary technology that no one else has. You have a couple startups Rocket Lab and Firefly, and there's a couple more, I can't remember them, that could probably replicate SpaceX if they had the money. But then you also, on the other end, you have these massive companies that have been around forever, the traditional aerospace. They're entrenched in like the Department of Defense and the military industrial complex and all that. They're defense contractors and all that, aerospace contractors and all that, who've been around since the 60s and earlier. These are the people who got us to like the moon with the Apollo missions, all that stuff. They have the know-how. But they're so entrenched in their ways and they're so used to cost plus contracting that they don't know how to be efficient anymore.
Yeah, how you apply it.
Yeah. So like ULA.
It's an art, man.
Yeah, ULA, which is it's co-owned by Boeing and Lockheed Martin. They make rockets, and before SpaceX, they were like the American rocket company.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to make rockets, assembly line style, where they can drive the cost all the way down and be competitive. Like their new rocket Vulcan is kind of, sort of, if you squint, competitive with Falcon 9 in pricing, but only under very specific circumstances. But there's nothing other than Boeing and Lockheed Martin, well, I guess I should simplify it, ULA's management, that's stopping them from making a Falcon 9 style reusable rocket that can keep up with SpaceX. Because they're just so used to being able to milk the government for money.
Damn.
Gets even worse if you go overseas.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess like the competition's always going to be there, but I feel like it's, just every day it becomes more and more obvious.
The competition is only for second place at this point.
Yeah.
Because the companies that have the ambition to match SpaceX don't have the money. And the companies that have the money don't have the ambition.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good point, because it is like there's a beautiful relationship between those two, and it's very difficult to have both. And like, we're just, thank God we got Elon, and SpaceX to do all that.
SpaceX was lucky, and they came in at the time where the technology allowed them to do what they did, because there are tons of startup rocket companies that have just died, especially in the 90s. There was almost like a boom of companies like trying shit.
Yeah.
But the technology wasn't quite there. The computers weren't quite sophisticated enough to be able to control a rocket back during re-entry and land vertically and all that crap, unless you were NASA, because NASA actually had a concept where they never sent it to space, but they did like, in-atmosphere tests to kind of do vertical takeoff and landing shit. But SpaceX came in at a time where the technology was mature enough to make it happen. And because they were first, they got a bunch of funding. And on top of that, Elon had Tesla taken off, so he had money he could throw at it. But early days of SpaceX, they almost went bankrupt.
Yeah.
Like, they were actually this close to running out of money. If their last Falcon 1 rocket didn't make it, they would have been done. In fact, they didn't even have the money for that last rocket. They had spare parts that they just... We have enough parts to make one rocket. We have enough parts to make one more rocket.
Yeah.
And then it worked, and then NASA was like, here's a contract.
Yeah.
And that saved them.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
So, like, they literally had their timing perfect to get where they are now. And because they were early enough in the game, no one else has been able to, like, keep up. And everyone who's coming into the game late has to fight for what is honestly, at the moment, a very limited market. They're fighting for a small share of a limited market.
Oh, yeah.
So, there are a lot of startups out there. I think within the decade, a lot of them are going to die.
Yeah.
So the only way to survive is you need to have a small rocket, like a small satellite launcher, that needs to be successful enough to get you enough money to develop a medium lift and then a heavy lift. Because once Starship gets online, unless someone else can make a Starship clone, no one's going to be able to compete. We'll have a second company survive in the USA just because the government wants dissimilar redundancy. So there will be a second place, but that is like it.
Yeah. Cheers to SpaceX, dude. Fucking sick. Dude, let's check in on an Anduril. Palmer Luckey, Anduril, that military company. Yeah. Close.
Adderall?
It's IR or IL. I think Anduril, no E. It'll come up.
That is not it. Is that something we talked about before?
Wait, there it is. There you go.
Andoril.
Yeah.
There we go. I mean, have they...
I mean, I wasn't looking for the... They're not going to update their website, but like I was looking for like news. I just kind of want to see where that homie was. Anything fun? Because this company is just so nuts, dude. And
One day ago, Andoril introduces Menace X, a vehicle-based C4 solution.
Oh yeah, click that. That's cool. Like, I can't see that picture really. It looks cool though. Nice, a little ATV thing.
I don't know if that's the product or if it's something that they can put on.
Yeah, introduces Menace X, a vehicle-based. Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. A vehicle-based C4 solution. So is it like something that you can put on the vehicle to do something with C4?
Oh, interesting. That's a good point.
No, it's a tactical all-terrain vehicle.
Sick. Dude, they're just doing cool-ass tactical shit.
They're doing
It's
that
crazy.
shit that all the tactical bros are like, that's fucking sick.
Yeah, they're like, man, if I just had it, this is their dreams.
Yeah.
This is it.
What does this do?
It probably just blows up. Yep, it uses
The software
lattice.
suite includes battle space, analytics, collaborative planning, automated threat detection, high-value target. Is this a fucking ground-based AWACS?
Maybe. Well, I might have been wrong. I mean, it was only a day ago, and like maybe they updated their website. But go to YouTube and just type that in, because I bet you that they might not update like a website that
I think
quick.
they got like a promotional video.
Oh, for sure, they definitely do. If they've already released it to the news, then it's in there. Street driving a 4,000 horsepower Camaro. That's in my suggested. Frick yeah. Yes.
Introducing
Yes.
the Menace X 5 days ago. It looks like a stretched Polaris, but it's also like long enough to be a whole frickin' car.
Yeah, it's a little truck.
I'm still not sure what this does.
We're going to find out.
Multiple software-defined communication pathways.
Man, whatever they do these videos, it is so beautiful. This is crazy.
Yeah. Does that look like the U.S.? I think they went to like New Zealand or something.
Yeah, south of the border. Yeah, I mean, this could definitely also be like Argentina or something. It's a little green. I don't know.
Software. Lattice. That's their software suite.
Yeah, Lattice is their...
Yeah.
Yeah, literally everything off Lattice. Oh, here we go.
This kind of looks like a ground-based AWACS or something.
Smack. A command was smack. If anyone's listening and not watching, we're watching the introducing... Oh, shit! We're watching the introducing Menace-X video on Anduril's YouTube, where they just launched a rocket from a Polaris 4x4. So, that was sick.
No, I think... No, that's a dedicated missile launcher platform. Like a HIMARS or something. But they are controlling it via this. So this is like a freaking...
So...
And anyone in the military, if they're watching this, is cringing at my analogy. But this is like a ground-based AWACS thing.
Whatever I just said was way worse. AWACS is a...
Advanced... Oh, God, I'm going to butcher that.
So, I mean, is it like it's guided missile?
No,
or is
AWACS is that plane that flies with a giant radar dish on top.
Okay,
And
so it's
basically
like
gives you a battlefield overview.
Drone,
Giant plane.
Giant plane. Yeah, because they had those things. So what it probably launched
Airborne Early Warning and Control is what it stands for. But yeah, it's one of these guys. Plane with a giant radar dish and basically tracks everything.
Yeah, and they have those. Anduril makes their own. We covered that in that other podcast we did.
Probably.
Yeah, if like we pull up their thing, you might be able to find it. It might take a minute to find, but do that because they were making all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Well, I guess I know where
Lord
they
of
got
the
their
Rings.
name from.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. They definitely copied Lord of the Rings. So
Command
air
and
systems.
control system.
Ooh, rocket motors. Rocket motors.
Solid rocket motors.
No. Probably air systems.
Or command and control.
No, not for their like fucking rockets.
It's not road running. Is Altius?
It
That's
didn't look
just
like
a
that.
drone.
Oh, it is it. Look, watch. Boom.
Well, did that get launched out of that thing?
Yeah, that thing that got launched out had like rockets. This thing is more of a drone.
No, this is a drone hunter killer. That's what this is.
Yeah.
Fury Ghost, one of those.
This was like the big rocket
Cruise missile, basically.
Yeah.
Autonomous air vehicle.
Which is so sick. Everything on this website's so sick. What was that thing I sent you earlier this week? Because, like, just speaking of the United States military just being fucking wild, the country with a GDP of a goldfish giving the United States a boo-boo. Like, just B-roll of all the things that we have.
They have oil.
Launching. Yeah, they have oil. There's just, everything launches.
Yeah, don't touch our boats.
Yeah, those are my stuff, man.
No, the boats specifically.
Yeah.
The last couple countries that touched our boats, Operation Praying Mantis. I think that was Iraq or Iran. I have to look that up. But yeah, Operation Praying Mantis. They touched our boats. We took out 80% of their navy in one day.
Oh, shit.
Iran, yeah.
Oh, in 88.
And then, you go back a little further and Japan touched our boats and we unleashed the sun two times.
But in 88, wasn't that that history went back a little further because we invaded Iran because...
Well, this is after the Iranian Revolution.
And then the war in Kuwait.
The war in Kuwait I thought was the 90s, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah.
No, Iran was attacking Kuwait oil tankers.
Yeah,
and
so
like,
we stepped in
don't do that.
Fucked up Iran, which people like to... I mean, not to get... I didn't want to go to this far, but I didn't want to get into these dark, dirty, upsetting topics. But from like my brief understanding, I think that that was what a lot of people speculate as being like the true start of like the terrorist attacks in New York City was our actions towards Iran showed everyone in Afghanistan, including like the military that we just kind of helped and built up, which would have been Al-Qaeda at the time. They were like, "Oh, you guys just did that to Iran? Like, what's going to stop that?
Well,
like,
no,
you guys
Iran
from doing that to us?
Iran already hated us before that.
No. I'm saying like, but from the perspective of Afghanistan, who we just had helped protect them against the Soviet Union, they looked at us attacking Iran because of a war that was going on with Kuwait over oil.
Well, that wasn't why we got involved.
It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is let's not pull teeth here. What I'm saying is that, like, whatever happened that day, whatever happened during that time, whatever we did to Iran, for whatever reason, Afghanistan and the Al-Qaeda specifically looked at that and they were like, what's stopping them from doing that to us? Like, yeah, they just helped us, but like, damn, they just did that to them. And like, obviously, that's a broad brush, but like, that's like the impression.
Where'd you hear that? Like,
so through a lot of there's two documentaries, I forget that what we watched, and they both like talked about those moments during that war, and then just kind of doing my own like little bit of Googling after watching the documentaries, like the things kind of seem to line up. And again, like, I don't think anyone has ever really gotten a clear answer for what's happened, like from Al-Qaeda, the attacks during 9/11. Like, no one really has like been like, why? Oh, they just hated our freedom. Like,
well, no, I mean the other
America
issue
didn't really
is
buy that.
if you ask them now, it's because we're infidels and death to America and all that. Like, that's the only answer you're going to get now.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, it's such an unorganized thing where it wasn't like there was, and there's also like no clear thing like tick for tack that happened where that was like. So, but that's all I was saying was that a lot of people point to those times during that, and then it was like right after that, 93, the attack on the World Trade Center,
the bomb that went off underground, and all
then,
that.
You know,
I mean, I can kind of see the correlation.
Yeah, that's, dude. I mean, and imagine also like getting all of this information like back in the day and being in like this like very poor country at the time. You know,
well,
still,
yeah. I mean, again, I can see the correlation, but personally, if the country that helped, you know, there was the Russian invasion of Afghanistan. So, like, you know, if we helped them repel that, I don't know what their personal viewpoint on our involvement in that is, but like, and then they turn around and see us crush Iran. To me personally, I'd be like, okay, don't piss them off.
Yeah, I think to me, I think to them rather, not me. I mean, but like to them, I think that what they saw was they saw somebody who wasn't involved at all, right? And then like go in and just crush. Whereas in like what we did with Afghanistan is we helped.
Well, again,
there wasn't.
I know what you were saying earlier, but we didn't just decide to do this because they were attacking Kuwait.
Yeah.
What happened? The tripping point was an Iranian mine hit one of our ships, the USS Samuel B. Roberts, right there.
Yeah.
And after that, because we had told them like, stop fucking mining this area, let Kuwait ship, because that's like for the longest time and up to present day, that's one of our Navy's like biggest jobs is to allow free trade, free like maritime trade across the world. So all of these waters that are like, you know, international waters, we're out there going like, don't try to block this. You know, don't interfere with this. I don't care if you have beef with this country. They're passing through in international waters. You let them go. Yeah. So that's what we were doing with Kuwait. You know, trying to keep Iran from stopping them from being able to you know, engage in maritime trade and travel and all that stuff. And one of their mines fucked up our boats. And the rule, number one rule when it comes to the U.S. is don't fuck with our boats. Yeah. So you know, we did a proportional response and took out like 80% of Iran's navy. Yeah, just back to the in one day. Back to the graph. You fuck around, the more you find out. Yeah. And very recently we did something like that. They fucked around and found out. Very recently we were doing something like that. I think outside of like Syria or something, I forget. But like last year, there was another country that was like engaging in shenanigans in international water and trying to interfere with international trade, and even like tried to launch some missiles at our boats, and we had missiles raining down all over their country. Yeah. I forget what country that is, and I feel stupid for like not knowing that off the top of my head, but yeah, that was like earlier this year. Yeah. Don't touch our boats. Yeah. I know, and it sucks. It feels like I mean, I don't know why the other countries would do that, you know, but I have to imagine it has to be in line with something along the lines of like how difficult it is to like get ahead and how hard it is as a country to get ahead without doing that. Because I mean, that's like, if we looked at America's progression, you know, like where do we fall in line as far as like, you know, like what's the autobiography of America? And like, you know, if we had America on the podcast, we were like, hey, like greatest country in the world, right? Hoorah! And like, you know, high-fived. And then we'd be like, well, how'd you get here, America? This is pretty great. Where did it all start? You know, what's the? I guess I'm asking you to recite the entire American history, don't I? Well, honestly, I don't know. Like it just like, you know, every country started where like it started, you know, but obviously like the Industrial Revolution early on. Well, that kicked off in England. Yeah. But no, what I mean, really got us. I'm just talking about like in America, like our Industrial Revolution. What got us is our isolation from most of the major conflict zones in the world. Yeah. That's also like the fact geography. That we have an entire continent well, not an entire, but we like have an entire section of a continent to ourselves, and our neighbors to the north and south we get along with well. We usually don't have to worry about them.
But also, like, we're like, as a country, it's so sustainable on its own. We're like we can grow food.
Well, I mean, Russia has plenty of raw material as well.
But they don't have like the same like growing. They have totally different seasons.
I mean, if they didn't piss off Ukraine was basically the breadbasket of Europe,
right?
Not just Russia, but all of Europe.
But hey, we're talking about like two different size things, though. Like pound for pound, like America versus like
but
you know what I'm trying to say.
We benefit from the relative isolation of most of the major conflict zones of the world, so our industrial base doesn't get hammered, so our industrial capability stays extremely high. You're right, we have a lot of natural resources at our disposal, so we can operate relatively, in a relatively like self-sufficient manner.
Yeah,
I don't think we would be completely self-sufficient now, but we couldn't be self-sufficient and continue our current lifestyle. If we went and took some very austere measures, we could probably be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
We just have to get a lot of extinct industry back up and running.
Yeah.
So we have that going for us, and then the fact that we didn't succumb to communism, which never seems to work right in the real world. Theoretically, it's a great ideal, great utopia.
That's actually a great point, honestly. This is like just kind of saying the quiet part out loud. I know I say that all the time, but like just hearing it like phrased that way, like not that I needed to be convinced about communism, but like hearing it like being phrased in that term of like looking at like American history at that time and like seeing all the countries that did like follow communism, like and no matter how close or like how far they followed it, and then like you said, where they are now.
Yeah, I mean, like some of the countries didn't fall into like complete destitution.
Yeah.
But they ain't America.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure.
Honestly, the only countries that have adopted communism that are even relevant on the world stage are Russia and China.
Yeah.
And Russia is no longer communist, and China I would say China's less communist now. They definitely had to loosen their regulations to grow to the economic powerhouse that they are currently, but they are less communist and more just straight up authoritarian.
Yeah. And like speaking of that, look at all these examples of capitalism working.
Yeah. Capitalism
I don't know, like it's bad.
All kinds of flaws. But honestly, we haven't found a better system.
Yeah.
We haven't found something that works as well.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get tons of hate for this from people who enjoy socialism, but anytime you look at anywhere where socialism has taken a firm hold, it doesn't work out all that great. Like, as a car guy, you look at the British Leyland had a lot of influence from like communism and socialism and all that stuff. And honestly, like that's kind of seen as like a low point in British automobile manufacturing.
Yeah.
The stereotypes of like people just constantly on strike and not doing anything.
Yeah.
And things just not getting done.
Yeah.
And while, you're trying to accomplish a noble cause, you're trying to like get a living wage and, workers' protections. That era of Britain isn't renowned for its craftsmanship or its productivity,
Yeah.
Now, socialism does have its place. You look at like these European countries like Norway and Finland and all that, and Sweden, where they have a lot more socialism than we do here, and quality of life there is really good.
Yeah,
that's a whole different can of worms.
Like you said, like distinctly between socialism and communism, but which is
like,
just still, I think, starkly different.
There's big differences between socialism and full communism, but socialism does kind of act as this like bridge between communism and capitalism.
Yeah,
and personally, I don't think socialism is this evil thing. Communism is not inherently evil, but because of human nature, it will never work in the real world.
Yeah.
But socialism, there are aspects of socialism that I think we should adopt. Social security, Medicaid for people who like need it, disability, any social program, unemployment, all that. That is technically socialism. I don't believe we should be in a cutthroat full capitalist world.
Yeah.
That there's no safety net in that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's probably a bad example, but like, like with you saying that doesn't work in like the world, I always think about like when COVID happened and like the fight over the toilet paper, you know, and like how it seemed
That's
like
the closest we as Americans will come to experiencing communism.
Well, just in the way that like we're like, look at how quickly like all of our neighbors turned on, and like, you know, not actually, but like,
Oh yeah, people were selfish.
like not your actual neighbor. Like your neighbor might have actually helped you. I'm sure that there's like some good instances of like people coming together, but as a majority and as a community, as a country, we all separated. It was like by kind of force. But
I
like,
would never steal toilet paper from you, Keith.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I would give you a roll right off my back. But you know, the point is just that you could see where like, you know, and people were scared of dying, and that's fine, whatever. But instead of making sure that everybody was going to live and that you only took what you needed, you weren't thinking about everybody else. You were thinking about yourself immediately. And, you know, and I would think that like, you know, and like there would be a small percentage of those people, but it was everybody. Mm-hmm. Everybody couldn't wait to buy toilet paper.
You know, I never actually had a close call with running out of toilet paper during that whole time.
Yeah, and I
do you
remember
know why? Because I always buy in bulk. Not because I'm paranoid. Not because I'm paranoid, but because I hate having to go shopping.
Yeah.
So I'm going to buy a big stack of toilet paper and not have to buy it for a month.
Yeah, there's only so many times I can take a shit and then have to get a shower afterwards, where I'm just like, you know what, I should buy toilet paper. You just got to put your foot down, and you're like, I'm going. But that was my big thing. I was like people are like freaked out about toilet paper, like as if like
toilet paper.
Yeah, well, because I think I have a theory, and not my theory, but someone else's theory that I agree with. But the big thing, like I always had a problem with, was like if the world was ending, this was gonna be it. We're all dying. You're worried about wiping your ass. Like, shit's about to go real sideways. Yeah. And you want to wipe your ass? Are you going to grab your toilet paper with you and you're going to carry it around? Or you the whole time while you're going through the wasteland of the world now? It's all COVID? No, dude. Like, you're not wiping your ass. You're not worried about that. You're worried about surviving. So, like, we're talking about, like...
bare minimum.
Yeah.
Food.
Brass.
Water.
And food. Water. Yeah. Like, that's what we're worried about. That's all we're worried about. And... like, to me, I was just like, this is a clear thing of where, like, someone was holding, everyone was holding on to, like, their, like, soft, cushy values and wanted to make sure, you know, their heads, no one's heads were in the right place, you know, to figure out, like, what was survival? Survival
toilet paper
looked like wiping your ass. That's what I'm saying. It's crazy. But I think that whole thing really just started with, like, the fact that toilet paper is so big, it fills up so much of the shelves. And then because 25% of the store has already bought toilet paper, the people in the store have already bought toilet paper, it looks like there's no toilet.
The shelf looks empty, and people panic.
They're like, fuck, I gotta buy toilet paper. What if I can never get it? Look at it flying off the shelf. Like, it was fucking canned beans. They'd be like, I'm getting a can of those beans. And that would have made more sense. I wish I could go back in time because I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but like, I would love to go see the canned goods section. I bet it was fucking stocked.
You know what I remember? From COVID?
What?
All the empty shelves, because people were like stockpiling shit.
For sure, yeah.
And
did you stockpile anything, by the way?
Fuck no.
Yeah, me neither.
But the vegan meat section was still untouched and full.
Which, honestly, that might have been the best thing to grab. That's gonna last.
I don't know if it's well, I mean, you got that. But I wouldn't say it's the best
That's
thing
as good as a canned beans.
The best thing to grab. I'm just saying it's a viable source of food.
Yeah.
So, you know, when the real meat runs out and the canned goods run out.
And the power's going out for 6 weeks.
Vegan meat, I guess.
Yeah.
Impossible burgers for dinner, bro.
Yeah. Impossible nuggies. Chicken fingers and beer. You ready for it?
That's just a clip from... what was it, Trailer Park Boys?
I don't know. I just thought it was funny. We won't have to play it. I don't know. It's just funny.
Let's get drunk, get some chicken fingers.
Yeah. Chicken fingers and beers, boys. But, yeah. Yeah, it was a weird time, for sure, with COVID. But it'll be hard to explain to people who...
I did come home one day to my AK with a bunch of, like, hand sanitizer, toilet paper, and Lysol, like, zip-tied to it. Fluff did that.
Oh, okay. Just pranks.
Yeah, just, you know.
Just keeping it light during COVID.
Disinfect your surroundings.
Disinfect your surroundings.
Great song.
That's funny as fuck. clever.
A Day to Remember. Mr. Highway's Looking for the End, if I remember correctly.
Yep. Great concert. This is the first time I ever crowd surfed.
Was it A Day to Remember?
A Day to Remember.
Didn't you lose a shoe?
I did. Oh, no. Gardy, who was on the podcast, shout out to Gardy. Gardy lost his shoe. And I remember, he walked up to me and he said that he lost his shoe. And I was like, damn, I was like, how long you been walking around? He's like, his sock is black. I was like, you should just take off the other shoe. And he's like, you're right. And like, we're standing in the crowd and he takes his shoe off and hawks it towards the stage and walked home, walked outside to the Uber, got all the way home with no shoes, just his dirty socks. Yeah, that was a fun time. But yeah, the first time I crowd surfed, it was Papa Roach opened, which was sick. And he walked right past us through the crowd, came off stage and walked through. It was pretty sick. And then I think somebody I Prevail was in between
I Prevail.
Papa Roach.
My favorite song by them is their cover of Blank Space by Taylor Swift.
Yes, it is sick. Yeah, it's very popular. Yeah. And it actually is really good. That became popular with those hardcore bands doing covers.
Yeah, it's, Pop Goes Punk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
some of those are bangers.
Some of them are bangers. Most of them
are not
good. Not
Most
even
of
close.
Them are okay.
Yeah, they're not even trying to be like that song, But
and
they're
Blank
supposed
Space,
to. Yeah, I feel like
hard.
it's not like we just needed a screamo version of Blank Space. I think that these hardcore bands needed to take a step out of their comfort zone and do this song and find themselves somewhere in the middle. And I think a lot of them were just nope, this is my version, and I just. Well, it's not even legible.
Just as
it's literally
someone
the
who,
lyrics are the same.
As someone who likes rock, I kind of appreciate that because it changes the entire tone of the original song. Personally, Blank Space, when you hear
obviously it changes the song
original,
completely. It's just the same lyrics.
I know, but it Blank Space for me.
It's
is
copying
a good
at
example.
that point.
No, it's completely different. Copying would be, I'm just gonna do that song, but since I'm in this thing, we're gonna replace the guitars with distorted guitars and my voice.
I see what you're saying. It's glass half full, glass half empty. Because either way, to me, paying something homage is different than just taking the lyrics and singing them your way, right?
Well, I feel
how many people did
so you're telling me copying is these hardcore bands taking this pop song and changing everything but keeping the lyrics? Because that sounds harder than just I'm gonna sing.
I think you're right. I think there is more of a challenge.
The way it was written, but I'm just gonna replace the instruments with my rock instruments, and I'm just gonna sing it with my voice instead of Taylor Swift's voice.
Yeah, that's harder. Or, yeah, doing it the
versus completely adapting the song to fit a completely different genre.
Yeah, taking the song and doing the closest you can of a version, or in the really, I think you just kind of have to meet in the middle. But you do make a good point because Luke Combs just did that the Fast Car, right? Tracy Chaplin.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was very faithful to the original, I thought.
It was, but also he also put his own little twang to it as well. But it did really pay homage to it, and I think it was he did it more his way, I think he sung it the right way.
It might be a little harder for me to tell because it's a country artist or a kind of country song,
mm-hmm.
and then a country artist covering it. So his way is still country.
Yeah, I think either way, I think they all paid homage. I don't think there's any shade, no disrespect to either of them, but I think I just like the ones that really meet it in the middle, where especially when they have those little lines in the chorus where it's almost the song's almost back, you're almost back in the original song, and then it switches back, almost flip flopping.
I mean, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I just
understand
what
you're saying, but. Specifically, I Prevail's cover of Blank Space.
Sick.
Completely different tone. Blank Space, the way Taylor Swift sang it, sounds like a narcissistic bitch is singing it.
I mean, Taylor Swift, we're going to piss off the Swifties, bro.
Swifties.
Take it easy.
I mean,
allegedly. Look, he means like, oh my God, you're a bitch. You didn't mean it that way. Swifties, back off.
But like, you know, just the way she sang it, it's got like kind of a happy song, like happy tone to it and all that. God, it rubs me the wrong way.
I know.
But when I Prevail did it, it almost sounds like, because it's I don't know for sure if one's in major and one's in minor, or major scale and minor scale, but typically like major scale's happier and minor scale's sad.
Yeah.
It almost makes it seem like it's from the perspective of a guy who's got like mental issues and knows it. Like that's the kind of tone it gives off to me. And maybe I'm just projecting, or like I have bias because I'm a guy, so I can kind of empathize with a guy's point of view more. But like when Taylor Swift says boys only want love if it's torture, and then in I Prevail's version when they say that, when Taylor Swift says it, it sounds like she's saying like boys won't pay attention to you unless you make it torturous, which as a guy, I don't want to be in that bullshit.
Right.
So that bothers me.
Yeah.
But in I Prevail, the tone where he's singing it and he says girls only want love when it's torture.
Yeah.
It hits different.
Yeah.
It's like saying that they don't want to be in a relationship with you unless it's going to be turbulent.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it rings more truth.
And I'm sure there's going to be people out there saying, "Oh, that's just because you're a guy. You're going to side with the guys."
Yeah, you're right.
But
Spot on. Spot
the
on.
tone that Taylor Swift sings it in, she's like sassy about it.
Yeah.
Like almost smug.
I mean, I think I'm very comfortable with being biased. I think it's more human to be biased than it's not. And if there's a slight bias in your perspective, then
like when Taylor Swift says it, she sounds like she's being smug and almost proud of making these relationships tumultuous and painful.
Yeah.
And when he's singing it, he's saying like, watch out, girls only want to make this hard.
They've wrecked my life.
Yeah. And that just seems
life is
that
ruined.
seems to have more depth.
Watch out.
That seems to have more depth than just, I'm going to be a bitch for the sake of being a bitch.
Yeah. For bitch sake. Being a bitch for a bitch
And I mean, no hate to
sake.
Taylor Swift, because there are songs of hers I love. I love Shake It Off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude, Shake It Off. If you're sitting down, you're standing up.
Yeah, and the older songs, Love Story.
Yeah.
Love that song.
Yeah, it's great.
White girl music is great.
Yeah. She's definitely a talented artist. There's no
absolutely.
taking that away.
You don't get that big without being talented.
Yeah, what's disturbing, though, is that, like, the amount of people, like, no names, obviously, but, like, I mean, people I have hardly even known.
The cult, following?
Yeah, dude, like, you, like, even trying to, like, look at it from a perspective of, like, because, like, I can say that she's a really talented artist, but I can also say that I don't listen to her music.
I don't listen to any of her new music, and maybe I just haven't I haven't given them a fair shot, because, like I said, I love the old shit.
But I love it for what it is. But if it came on and I'm in the car for 20 minutes, I'm turning it off, because if I have fucking 20 minutes, like I'm getting through some songs here. Like I'm not like I don't love it that much.
Man. I love white girl music.
Shake It Off.
Katy Perry.
I was gonna say now Katy Perry hits a little different for
Kesha.
me. Yeah, Kesha a little bit. Holly loves Kesha. Kesha a little bit more than Taylor, but Katy Perry for sure. Katy Perry is one of those ones where I'm like, oh my god.
Wasn't she also like on the magazines like world's hottest woman for like a year?
No doubt.
I mean, I don't doubt.
No doubt. If it is, we're just gonna say that she was, because no doubt, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't know. It just like for me, like it just like Taylor Swift songs don't like resonate as much with me.
I mean, we're not the target audience, obviously.
Of course, that's my point. Is that like even if you're not that target audience, like anytime like someone says like what I'm saying right now, it always be like, how dare you? She works so hard. It's like, oh, okay, all right, okay, fine. Like, I'm sorry.
Taylor Swift flew 178,000 miles last year.
Yeah, bro. It's bad when like a third of the population knows her private plane tail number. Like everybody knows the plane that she's on, bro. Like, it's so bad.
Also,
We're
have
all
you seen
following.
those videos recorded like from the crowd at a Taylor Swift concert?
No.
Oh my god, you can't hear her.
Oh,
all you can hear is a bunch of girls screaming the lyrics to her song, horrendously off key.
Of course.
And these tickets are like hundreds of dollars a piece.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, people probably traveled for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be so pissed.
I wonder, let's look up the how many, actually I want to like maybe come back to that, just I don't want to get rid of that, but let's look up how many like people go, how many people like are at one of her concerts.
Well, how many people fit in a normal sports stadium? Because she sells out entire stadiums.
Oh my God, dude.
Why not YouTube?
And again, like she deserves it. She's so talented, and it's
no hate against her.
Yeah, no hate, But like, obviously, it's just not like my cup of tea because I'm genetically not. I don't know. It's not my. Oh my God. Taylor Swift sold an estimated 4.35 million tickets. Just in tickets.
Across 60 tour dates within the concert.
That's not dollars. So, I mean, what? That times
so,
what?
Yeah,
like,
over a course of a year, November 2022 to 2023, 4.35 million tickets, an average of 75,000 tickets per show. There you go. There's your number.
There's my number.
With each ticket
Holy
costing
fuck.
an average of $240.
Okay, can you want to math that out? They just, like, coincidentally left out that big number we're all looking for. Holy shit.
So,
60 tour dates, too.
0 times 240 for
Bro, 60 tour dates.
each concert's pulling in like $17 million. Now, granted, that gets spread between all the people working the concert, the venue, and all that, but each concert in raw money coming in from ticket sales, not including merch and like concessions and all that stuff, $17 million. $17.5 million.
On one or the year?
Per show.
And there's 60.
Yeah.
So that's another number I was kind of... She does 60 tours. And I'm guessing that's in a year. Yeah. So like November to November, she did 60 tours. Which I'm guessing is 60 shows?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like when you break that
That's
down...
$1 billion.
There we go.
And again, like no one person's getting that $1 billion.
But let's look up Tay-Tay's... what's the net worth? What's that netty look like? Just want to make myself feel bad. I don't know why I do this. It's a billion. Yeah, and they're going off ticket sales. They're going off that number. So it's probably not accurate, but...
First musician to reach a milestone solely from songwriting and performing. Congratulations.
Big congrats. God dang. There was someone else who... Like, Beyonce's up there. Rihanna's up there.
Yeah.
There's some other ones that I had always stuck in my head because I remember.
Yeah, I know what you're saying because there are plenty of like famous women artists now, but there's a few that have reached just like iconic status.
Yeah, and like they've been like they just stayed rich this whole time. They're not even putting out music. They're just doing other stuff, which is it's great, But damn, money. Whew. That's wild. $1 billion. $1 billion. What would you do with $1 billion?
You wouldn't know I had $1 billion, but there'd be signs.
There'd be signs. Just a K-truck farm. Just K-truck just running free, just basking over the valleys and the hills.
Yeah. No, if I had $1 billion, a lot of it would go towards like investments just to generate passive income.
Lame.
Not all of it.
This is not like how would you structure your
You asked me what I'd do with $1 billion.
retirement
right? First things
fund
first
with
is
$1
to get
billion?
my money straight, so I'm never
Okay.
fucking poor.
What would you do with $1 billion after?
After all my affairs are settled?
I mean, clearly you're settled up with a Billy.
With
If
a
you
Billy.
blew a Billy,
Well,
bro.
you'd be gay.
Billy could be a boy. Bro, have you seen that video that's been flying around about the guy who's dating a trans girl and
insists he's not gay.
Insists he's not gay.
Yes.
And he's like, dude, I'll suck her dick, but like, that's not gay. Like, she's beautiful. I love this girl. And they're like, hey, yo.
I'm not going to comment on that. I have my opinions that I will stick to, but I'm going to keep those to myself in an attempt to not be canceled by either side.
Look, it's no hate. If that dude wants to suck his girlfriend's dick, then that's totally fine.
You wouldn't suck a lady penis?
This is America, not
It's a lady penis. Just suck it.
Not about me. Not about me. But
That's a video
But
clip that I saw a long time ago, and I am not trying to search any of that to find it again. But some guy's like, "You wouldn't suck a lady penis? Come on, it's a lady penis. Just suck it."
They're not chicks with dicks. They're dudes with tits. That's the old saying. But no shade, no hate. But there's no way of getting around. No matter where you stand on that spectrum, that and just the scenario, you have to admit, like that guy has to admit that like the scenario he's in, all right, this is not normal. This is a predicament that there's no way he could have guessed he'd be in. like dude, like $1 million gamble 10 years ago. Like, hey dude, this is. They're like, you're not predicting.
You want my honest opinion?
Maybe.
That guy is so far in the closet, he's in Narnia.
Narnia. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's insisting he's not gay. He's still in the closet. Like,
yeah. Could be. I'll take a little smidge.
Yeah. You're putting a.
Yeah. Yep. Yes.
In your mouth.
That's happening. Yeah. I think you're right. I don't think there's. Really
There's plenty of people who want to make the argument that trans women are women and blah blah blah.
But at the
end of the day, a woman's not going to put that in your mouth.
Yeah. But you were saying something else before I interrupted you about the trans guy.
I don't even remember.
Fuck. How'd I even bring that up?
I don't know.
Oh, what you gonna do with $1 billion?
How did that come from $1 billion?
So would you?
What are you gonna do with $1 billion, Keith?
Would
Something
you suck
on
a
your
lady
mind?
penis for $1 billion?
My answer with $1 billion would be boring.
Yeah.
I would buy a house, take care of the parents and family and all that, and then just buy some shit boxes. Buy engines and put engines that obviously don't belong in shit boxes in shit boxes.
Yeah.
Build a race car and track it every now and again for fun.
Now and again is the craziest thing. I would literally.
Well, I mean, I would
build tracks and build cars. Bring them in.
You know what? That's right. That's
cost.
There's one thing I would do right there. I'd build a neighborhood for me and my friends.
Ooh, a compound. Getting close. Commune.
Communism.
Communism. Well, there's little compounds. You're getting a little David Koresh on us.
Yeah, no, I would go out into bumblefuck nowhere.
This sound like David Koresh. Take it easy. ATF's coming.
And build a racetrack and a bunch of houses around it. And me and my friends.
Have you seen the Drift Mansion?
I think I've seen there's a couple of those around the world.
Yeah, just a big ass house you can rent and
right by a track.
Well, literally the driveway is a track.
Yeah.
Like you just you pull up to it and you just drive through this track to get to the front door. It's sick. And I'm sure it's so much money to rent, but usually it's just YouTubers, influencers and stuff that can afford and rationalize doing such an event.
There'd be that. Probably be some historical restoration projects, old warplanes and shit, because I'm a nerd for history.
Yeah, you're recreating in your own way Leno's garage. You're gonna have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a trust
air conditioned
some sort of trust fund thing out there that's trying to revive an old steam train where every example got scrapped and they need $10 million in total funding to build this thing. They're about halfway done building this thing. But I'd just cut them a check for the rest and be like, fast track this shit.
Yeah.
And let me drive it.
You wouldn't go SpaceX and just open up a startup?
No, I don't have
you're out of your depth.
No, I
as fun as that.
How does a billionaire become a millionaire? Start a space company.
Yeah. Buy lunch.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
I think I remember.
Now, if you had that kind of money, you could probably be a private investor for SpaceX, and that's something I'd definitely put my money into.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. But not to get bored with it.
But they don't trade publicly. They're not a publicly traded company, so they're not going to be on the stock exchange. But if you have enough money and you're involved in investing, you can invest in these private companies. SpaceX every couple of years does a round of fundraising, and if you have enough money and express interest in blah blah blah. Obviously, I don't know because I am not that crowd.
Yeah.
But I would try to find a way into that crowd.
Sure. Yeah, I remember I saw this like little interview with Rick Ross, and he was talking about when he first made his first $1 million, and he was like, it just cleared $1 million, and he's like, I felt so good, like the bank account just had $1 million. I was so happy. And he's like, I took my family and like producer and all my friends out to dinner, and was like, I'm paying for dinner. And he's like, at the end, he's like, my producer was like, hey man, thanks for your $1 million. Like, you're like, thanks for having us out for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so long to your $1 million. And he was like, what? He's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, now you're not a millionaire. Because like it's just like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but of course, like you got way more money. But at that moment, like boom, it was gone.
Yeah. Now, when you're a billionaire, you can spend a bit before you drop
you
out
can
of that.
spend $1 million on lunch.
Yeah.
And be like, whoops.
Still billionaire.
Yep, still billionaire. I know. There's that famous YouTube video with that guy who explains what $1 billion is, like with like.
Oh yeah, the difference between $1 million and $1 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like.
It's basically like almost an exponential function.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we have the first trillionaire, that is like unfathomably rich.
Yeah. And isn't there like speculation that like there might be like
that might be a ways away? We are probably closing in with the next couple decades or so.
like some other countries
having our first single company that is valued at over $1 trillion.
Who would that be?
Well, anyone who can figure out how to mine asteroids is in the running.
Pharmaceutical.
Mining asteroids? Pharmaceutical? What?
Oh, no, I'm saying that like a pharmaceutical company probably would be in the running.
Maybe.
You know, it's pretty big. It's kind of a booming, nonstop, always growth industry. Eh?
Well, that's all of the American market.
That's capitalism, baby.
And that's also what's choking it out.
Yeah.
And driving the enshittification of everything.
Yeah. Cue the American flag and the Eagles.
What the fuck is a kilometer?
What the fuck is What the fuck is up their knees? Yeah. I think if I had a billion, like the funsies would literally be making a track, and like big track that did like everything, and hotel, on track, like big parking, storage for people's race cars, like a Disney for like cars.
Yeah, what if I could afford it? I would also try to keep the prices like bargain basement.
Yeah.
Just enough to pay for the upkeep of the track and the taxes and the
Especially,
insurance. You definitely need insurance.
Oh, well, of course, yeah. I got $1 billion, dude. I'm not worried about it. But like keeping like everything to where like it's at cost, like making sure that like everything's at cost and like making money where
because
like,
if I have passive income through investments,
right? Why do I need to like overcharge? Like, because especially the entry level guys, like where like if you're just trying to get started, you have you need to rent a car. We talked about East Coast Drift School and Drift Evergreen. Shout out. That they're doing like really cool, very inexpensive, relatively for what it is, like programs to get people started and like learning about drifting, bro. Like being able to do that and make it even cheaper than that, make it like just the obvious choice to do to start getting like someone into it, and I think like that's just so cool, if you could do it. You know? Just like if you can, because I don't know, dude. I think it's so awesome. I can't wait to get back. I can't wait to get back to drifting, And also,
so like 5 years from now?
Probably. Realistically,
that's your 5-year plan.
5-year plan. But, I mean, I bet you could find me in a year on the track. Like, if I think that's my, like, internal goal. I think realistically, in 5 years, I'll be fluid on the track. Like, it'll be a normal
So you
thing.
think within a year you'll have enough money to
I'll have a car.
at least have the car?
I'll have a car, and like the goal is to go like twice a year. I like to do like
You're gonna just rent a U-Haul like trailer in the
probably,
meantime?
yeah. Because if I'm only doing it for like those couple events, then like it doesn't really make sense to like go out and buy.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing that I was worried about was like taking the dogs with me, and that's like 100%. That's the only way that I would want to do it. And I've been thinking about buying like an SUV anyways, so I might do that. I might do like an SUV and then rent a trailer. But unless I just stumble upon a trailer that's just dirt cheap, then I could just snag
Does
up.
the Frontier? Does the back window of the Frontier open?
It does.
It does. Get a cab for that.
They would freak out.
Would they?
Fuck yeah, they
Even with
freak
that
out in the
window open?
back. Oh yeah, it's not big enough. They would freak the fuck out, and it would be so loud. It's like I would need like sound deadenant. My poor puppies. No way.
I mean,
I'd have them in my lap before I put them in the bed. Those dogs are so far from a wolf. It's so crazy, dude. Like, years of just breeding has bred out every bit. I mean, although he gets a little upset with strangers, but dude, he's so far from that. It's crazy, but yeah, no, and like a second vehicle is going to be good for us anyway, so I think that's what I want to do. But either way, yeah, a year, I think I'd like to, at least be shopping, but yeah, 5 years, dude, I'm at the track, dude.
yeah, I think 5 years is a reasonable goal to like.
Yeah.
To have been on the track, like have your setup.
Yeah. Hell yeah. What about you? Think you'd ever get into it?
Drifting?
We've been talking about it a lot. I feel like I could get you in.
I love drifting, but I think I'd personally have more fun track day.
I think you got to do
stuff.
them both. I think you got to find a car that can do both, and then like.
Well, I would definitely want to practice both because drifting has applications on the track. If you lose the rear end of the car,
Yeah.
you now know how to handle that.
But they get pretty mad when that happens.
Well, I wouldn't be trying to drift at a
I know,
track day.
but when it happens, like I've heard, like they're like, hey, like the guys off track, they're like watching, like the spotters will see, they're like, hey, this guy's been, and like a lot of the times you're right, because usually it happens that way, but the majority of the time, I think it really happens from inexperience, obviously.
Well, fuck what they say. I want to catch and keep my car from spinning.
Yeah.
That's the practical application.
So Carl, who I don't know, but he's always on the Faction podcast. Shout out to Faction Boys again. But he talked about taking his. I think he took his car, an IS, but he went on a road course track, and he'd been drifting for a long time. And then he was with an instructor that was with him, and they're driving, they're doing their thing, and the back end came out, and it came out hard. And like you said, from all of his experience, he had it, As soon as it happened, he knew it was happening, adjusted for it, and knew that you don't never lift, and just kind of kept in it, and kind of kept the back end out and just powered through, and then
just
got straight.
Walk it back into place.
Yeah, but he said while they were driving, his teacher was like, okay, go here, brake, 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 and they're like, okay, gas, go. Look good here, crest this way. He said when that back came out, he went from, all right, slow down here, crest this left, to, whoa, 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 yeah, and immediately. And
he immediately recognized, okay, this guy's got this.
Well,
this scenario.
Yeah, but also it to me it highlighted that that was the funnest part of that whole track. Was when the back kicked out. That driver, the instructor
That's
was
just out of the ordinary for him. It's something different, something novel, something exciting. And drifting is always exciting.
Yeah.
Always.
That's my point.
But I'm just saying that knowing me,
yeah,
I think I would prefer that.
Yeah.
And it would cost me less in tires.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
Does that mean I am going to go, I am
That's
100% grip, no slide?
That's what I'm saying you should do both.
No slide.
Yeah, no, of course. I think that's why I'm saying you should do both. Getting
easy for you to say. It's my money.
Well, no, I'm not saying you have to do both full time. I'm just saying you get a car, you get an E36 or an E40. Yeah, E46, whatever. Set up the alignment, buy some tires. Yeah. You can get a little you don't even need a handbrake to be honest, but bro, you'd have a ball. But even if you just if you did really love being able to just do the road course, and that was the affordable thing, and then just once a year you come hang with the slidey boys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know for a fact that that's the route that I would take,
but you got to try it.
The route that I'm going to take. because mostly all I'm basing this off of is what I like doing in Forza.
Yeah.
And I like tracking more than drifting.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
In real life, it might be completely different. I've slid my cars before. I've never had a dedicated drift car.
Yeah.
And I've only ever done, shit like that, either in the rain or on accident.
Yeah.
It's great. And maybe if I had a dedicated car and a place to go do this on a regular basis, I'd like it a lot more than track driving.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, obviously there's an appeal to both of just, like, being, like, number one, like, just being able to beat your own time. Crazy. And then also just, like, pushing a car to its absolute limits as opposed to, like honestly, like, the highlight of drifting is that if you even have a track, like, and luckily I'm so blessed that where we live, we do, Englishtown, shout out, but that big entry, dude.
That video from, I think it was Laguna Seca, bro started his entry yesterday.
Yeah, was that Matt Kaufman? Shout out Matt Kaufman.
He's just like the front
entry.
straight, like halfway down the straight, decides to initiate the drift.
Yeah, so sick. But that's the other thing too, is that, like, that grid life stuff, like you see like cars drifting around cars, like, on track in grid life. I don't know, dude. There's something about that. I'm just like, yo, this is fucking sick.
Oh yeah, drifting's always exciting.
Yeah,
always.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
sick.
Like,
I love it so much.
Again, I'm just kind of going off of like Forza because that's the only analog that I have. I spent a lot more time chasing tenths of a second around track than I did beating scores sliding.
Yeah, but I think it's because there's a lot of disconnect in Forza.
There's just as much disconnect for regular driving versus drifting in Forza. It's a controller.
No. Because like in the driving portion, like, yeah, you can rack up a couple more points, but like racking up those points in drifting is never cut and dry. There's always I was like, why wasn't it counting points when I thought I was.
No, I get that. Yeah,
but when you're driving, because I get it too.
The stopwatch is going.
Dude, that fucking stopwatch is going, and everything that you do fucking counts, and they're very accurate with that, and that makes it far more entertaining in that way,
Yeah, I mean, at the same
time,
again,
it's you pushing something to the limit.
I've also
awesome.
There's one track in one of the Forza. I forget which track it is, which sucks because I spent a lot of time on there. There was one track where I drifted a lot. That was like the track that I went to when I wanted to drift.
Mm-hmm.
And I would sit there and try to connect the entire track.
Yeah.
And
that's a challenge.
I did chase that. And
Yeah.
it had nothing to do with the points. It was just,
can I do it?
Can I do this?
Yeah.
But I would always get bored and end up going after times
Yeah.
on other tracks.
Yeah.
I spent a lot more time chasing perfection in my road course driving than I did in trying to drift.
Yeah. And something I never got good enough at, I think I gave up video games too quickly, was doing tandems. I would always see videos online of people.
You need a wheel setup if you want to do that in video games.
Yeah, maybe.
No, you definitely do.
Well, either way, but I just always thought that was really cool, and that's a whole another aspect to making it fun, and I'm sure you know
doors.
about I'm sure you know about Assetto, right?
Assetto Corsa, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't actually know that much about it. Can you just pull that up? Because I like
Assetto Corsa is just a.
I would like to just kind of see some in driving stuff. I'm just interested. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the folks, the fellows that are out there doing that. I mean, with Assetto, I think you could even do Englishtown.
Well, it's a PC game,
Yeah.
so mods
I think a lot of people
plenty.
Yeah.
You can mod this game to hell and back.
Yeah.
But
so maybe that's for Discord.
Yeah,
or
but at the
something.
core of it is its physics engine and how it models suspension and tires and traction and all that.
Yeah.
And you couple that with a good wheel and pedal setup with good force feedback, and you have a lot more precise control. And drifting feels a lot more natural in that than it ever would in Forza with a controller or something like that. With controllers, you just don't have that level of precision. You can't make small adjustments with the steering because you have a control stick that moves an inch to control what normally takes like 2 rotations of a steering
Yeah.
wheel.
Yeah, and what are these like? These sim setups are like what, like 15 grand?
Oh, if you want to go absolutely crazy, but you can get a competent sim setup for a couple $100.
Let me see them. I'm obviously it's such a popular thing nowadays, but I've just been hearing it like just more and more. I think it's honestly because I'm more into cars now, and I've just found
like
myself.
You want to spend money, you can get a whole rig that's got like the seat and all this
like
stuff.
the Podium One,
and like
the Podium One.
3.
That's not Podium.
Bro, this thing's got hydraulics for like. Yeah.
Look up the Podium One simulator. Yeah, sim rig. Yes.
Yeah. You don't need all that.
Almost $36,000 for a P1 sim rig.
No, you just need a good wheel, pedals, shifter box thing, and some way to mount it solidly.
Yeah.
You handle that, and
we're good.
You'll be good enough.
Yeah.
And if you want like the full thing, maybe get 3 monitors so you have, actual peripheral vision.
Right. And can you just do that with like a regular gaming system, or this has to be done with a computer?
If you want multiple screens, you need a PC.
Computer. Sure. Okay. Interesting.
I'm sure there are wheels that work with consoles, but in this example, this thing's probably all like built in.
Dude,
together.
throw in Assetto again and just put in Club Loose. I'm interested like to see what like that looks like, because I heard that someone was playing like the Club Loose track in Assetto.
What?
I know that
what track is that?
English Town Raceway. Oh shit! Yeah. Oh, that's the kart track. Nice. Yeah, there's the bank.
Drift layouts.
Damn. Yeah, what happens when you click on that? Oh, it's YouTube.
Yeah, it's
okay,
YouTube.
okay.
You're gonna get
I
a
thought it was like going to. Okay, cool. Leave this up. I might play around with it. Allegedly.
PC gaming.
I'm not. I'm not getting back into video games. All of my time and money would be dedicated to this, but there's a lot of people that are saying that like if you know how to drift, like the simulator is going to be hard for you, but if you've never drifted before and you've like do the sim, it'll be easy for you, and that actually translates into like cars, like actually doing it.
So it's easier to go from nothing to simulator to car than it is to go from car to simulator.
Yes, and then let that simulator experience transition into cars. It just doesn't. Yeah, you'll never get good at the simulator. But I think the biggest thing is that it gives the people who don't already have it, which we got at an early age, is like the grasp on physics, like how to enter, what like that braking feels like, the input of like
what
gas
it feels
pedal.
like to have an unsettled car.
Yeah, exactly.
As you're going through a turn.
Yeah, like the physics of like
I know you and me have talked about.
If I carry this much speed, this is gonna happen. Just in braking. You know, like,
you and me have definitely talked about how the suspension copes on our work vans with how we drive.
Yeah, you gotta set them.
You gotta let it settle.
You gotta let them set. Get them set and start digging.
Go into the turn, wait for the suspension to take a set, and then you can figure out how much you can push it from there. If you just whip the van into there, momentum's gonna take you right over.
Yep, I have a bad day. It'll be a bad
and that's
time.
how I pass people on cloverleafs in a work van, allegedly.
You heard it here, folks. Allegedly.
You allegedly heard it here. You
allegedly heard
shit
it
here.
here. I didn't do shit. I'm not worried about it. Yeah, I guess also with this whole drifting thing, since we're on the topic, I feel like we probably should. I do want to just like give an official spiel on the whole sideshow thing. So obviously, you and I do not condone any sideshow, any illegal driving.
My lawyer
drifting.
advised me to not condone anything illegal.
Maybe. So yeah, I do want to just like say, because like we talk about a lot of stuff we did as a young men.
Yeah, I can acknowledge it would be very hypocritical of me to say don't do illegal things when I know I've done things.
Yeah. So
might be frowned upon in polite society.
Yeah. So we did some dumb stuff when we were kids.
If you look hard enough on YouTube, you'll find a video of my Volvo doing a burnout.
Allegedly.
Leaving a parking spot.
Allegedly. But yeah, so I mean, young men and gals have been, doing dumb stuff in cars
Since
for a
the car's
long
been invented.
time. Yeah, so this is nothing new, and these sideshows are also like nothing new. But obviously, we don't condone anyone doing anything like that, or even drifting illegally on the streets. Burnouts, speeding, none of that. None of it's cool. Don't waste your time. Don't lose your license, and risk huge lifetime opportunities because you don't have a license. It's not worth it. Find a track. Go drift evergreen. Go find your local spot. And shout out to Ant for doing helping promote these
legal pits.
These legal pits, which is also a good transition for a lot of the the mayhem that's hitting the streets. But and as soon as you're done, if you want to move from doing legal pits and maybe you want a little more speed, drift tracks. And if that's not your game, NASA Northeast. Shout out NASA Northeast.
I don't think the people doing sideshows want to shave tents off of a track.
They might,
but
they might.
Hey, you won't know unless you try.
They might. I mean, look, everybody started out with just like drag, right? Like everyone, and I get it. I mean, and again, like we said this on the last podcast, where I'm like, look, if I was young, like I get the appeal. Like we did dumb stuff, and like if that was the happening thing, like you buy in, but damn, it is not the right thing to do.
No.
I mean,
I'll put it this way: if there was a very easy to access place where I could just go do burnouts, I would have gone there.
Right.
But it wasn't, and there still isn't.
And yeah, and exactly. Even if like a lot of these people are not getting in trouble, it's still not good. And like, I am an old man screaming at clouds, but a little piece of me has to think that like this is like one step in the direction of like the wrong way for car culture. A little bit, because
much like someone doing a burnout at Cars and Coffee, this damages the image of car enthusiasts everywhere for the rest of us.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you've ever been to a Cars and Coffee and then had someone do a burnout or do a donut or like wreck their car when they were leaving because they're being a hot dog leaving the parking lot, like that's poorly reflected onto the people who are holding the event, and a lot of times they're not welcome back.
Yep.
And
that actually happened to one of the Cars and Coffees that I used to frequent local to here. It wasn't necessarily just like the donuts. Like they were kind of on thin ice because people kept ignoring them. They're like, look, don't open hoods. I know that's normally part of like a Cars and Coffee, but like the people that are allowing us on their lot,
they don't want it.
They don't have the once you open hoods, it becomes a car show, and you need specific insurance for that because this is a business chain, like a nationwide chain, not just like a local business. They're like, we got to play by the rules here. So don't open your hoods. People kept opening their hoods. Yeah, and they're like, okay,
respect the rules.
For the regular shoppers that come through here, get out of their way. This is a business. They are allowing us to be here. They have customers. Don't block the customers. People weren't getting out of the way.
Yeah.
And the final straw that killed that Cars and Coffee was COVID. Not because it was like, oh, well, COVID's here, we can't have Cars and Coffee anymore. It was because, hey, COVID lockdowns are in place. Do not come here for the weekly Cars and Coffee. It is not on. We are not allowed to be there. We are locked out because of COVID. People showed up anyway. The business was like, you can't come back.
Yeah. And even if like that person specifically wasn't there, like technically it happened with or without them.
It happened because of them. They were hosting an event there regularly. And it was a weekly Cars and Coffee, which is why I loved it. Every weekend I could, like if I had nothing else to do, I could go there.
Yeah, you always knew you could just cruise up, hang out with friends.
And it was close. It literally took me 10 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
Gone because people couldn't
follow the rules.
People just couldn't do what they were asked.
Exactly. And like just appreciate like what was actually happening in that moment, and like understanding that like, look, like just something that's so silly that you don't really understand the importance of is going to ruin this whole thing. I don't think that like sideshows are going to ruin everything and culture is done. Like it's never that.
No, but it gives them ammunition. And car culture is constantly under attack.
That's what I was going to say, is that, like, it's the step in the wrong direction of something that's always under fire with, like, all the, you know, regulations, the emissions that, like, we talk about all the time, and, like, what they're doing to cars nowadays, like, just as far as, like, even going EV and stuff, like, however you want to frame it, like cars are not what they used to be. They're not looked at.
They can't be what they used to be.
Yeah. And, like, but just how they're looked at isn't like what it used to be, and I think that the car culture, if anything, like these days, is even better than it ever was, and I think it is bigger. I think NASCAR is bigger. I think drifting's definitely bigger. I think, you know, road course racing probably bigger. I don't know, because I there's so much that I see on, like, that patina research where I'm like, damn, we're not doing that today.
They're,
like,
you know,
that
you
Dodge
could argue
Stratus,
that, like,
dude, the Dodge Stratus racing.
You could
so
argue
sick.
that, like, the 70s, 80s, 90s were like a golden era.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look at Group B rally racing. That's like one of the epitomes of, like.
Well, true, yeah, and, like, the companies like Endless, Top Secret, what was the you know, just even the gigantic events like Hot Import Nights, and what was the other one that
On the other end of the spectrum, you have, like, German, like, DTM racing was, you know, at an all-time high in the 80s and 90s,
but
late 80s, early 90s.
like Weckfest. But what's that other big one that, like, Nope events, like, all that shit, and, like, that kind of stuff's gone. Like, now it's like,
well,
now
we still have SEMA with your Bluetooth drive shafts and wireless radiator hoses.
Crazy, bro.
Like, this is supposed to be the biggest show of the year, and you're bringing a half-complete car?
Yeah.
What the? Why?
Yeah.
Don't bring anything
know,
unless you actually build it up to that standard that SEMA should be.
People have been saying that, like, SEMA's been, like, going downhill, or like AC not working in, like, the events, like, where the cars are inside, and, like, just, like, I mean, the
Car culture's dying.
I think it's dying as, like, a big corporate business, but I think it's bigger than ever as far as grassroots. You know, like the guys like Adam LZ and you know, Jimmy Oaks. That
social
like,
media, I think, helps, like, propagate it out to more people.
Yeah,
as well.
It's spread a little bit more thin. You know, but dude, like, Final Bout is this weekend actually. I forget which Final Bout that we're on. Like, that's huge. Like, Final Bout, when it first started, like, you know, not the first one that they did, it was like dudes on forums, you know? Like, dudes on forums had never met each other, just, like, finally met and just all, like, put together this event. And boom. And, like, now it's, like, this crazy, gigantic, big thing. You know, there's, like, tons of events that are like that, but even, you know, the evolution of Formula Drift, you know, I guess like maybe like Super D dying a little bit was like part of that. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like the really, really big scale stuff has shrank, but you're right. Like, a lot of the grassroots, like, people driven stuff has actually seen an uptick in engagement and participation in the last couple of years.
Yeah, and then also, like, back to the sideshow thing, and I started to mention this when we were talking with Ant, but you know, like, Oakland obviously has, like, a long, like, from, like, the 80s, has this history of all of the sideshows and stuff, which like, for those guys, they took it really, really serious. That's what I was, like, I think I had mentioned, like, just the kind of two different cultures that are out there, where these guys, like they're taking it serious, but also, like, breaking the law, you know, and that they're like, hey, like, you got to go practice, you got to go swing your car in the street, you know, and then you show up, and, like, what you're doing when you show up is just for the clout. You're showing up for the honeys, for the girls, you know, you're showing out, you know. And, like, and that's cool, and that's, like, part of their culture, and that's fine. And, like, clearly the rest of the world has tried to adopt that, but,
and
like,
then all these young kids came in and ruined it, just like they ruined mosh pits.
Yes, yeah, and it just the whole thing's just kind of gone rotten, you know. But even with, like, the Oakland side, like, I mean, obviously still with it being illegal and so many people getting hurt, I just don't get how many people can get hurt, and people are just okay with it, you know? Like, we said it, like, you know, get back, get smacked, whatever the fuck, but, like, but still, like, there's two parties involved here. You know, like you drive in to this illegal pit. You know, it's like if you hit somebody, you hit somebody. Like, yeah, they should have been out of the way, but like I don't know, bro. Like,
I don't know. Well, let me put it this way: when you see those videos of someone getting hit, do you feel bad for them, or you go, "You deserve that"?
Both, man. My heart sinks, bro. That's a human being that just got launched. I mean, what always kills me, the one that does make me laugh, is the dude he's getting like they're literally doing a burnout on his butt, and it just drags his pants off. Like he like falls out of the car, and like the car is like kind of like coming towards him, and it just like the corner of the tire just grabs his pants and just shoots his pants off, just bare butt, hops up, dick out, like just starts running off the pit.
Look, I'll put it to you this way:
he deserved that. But
it's natural selection.
I guess. Yeah, I guess.
We've built a cushy life, and natural selection has stopped happening.
Yeah.
When it does happen, it should be applauded.
Yeah.
You know, nature's healing.
Yeah. But again, I think you're right. I think you're right. But
I mean, look, call me callous. I don't feel bad for these people when they get hit.
Yeah, and I wasn't gonna say that, but I'm just saying that like when we allegedly were doing all the dumb stuff that we did when we were kids, like we never did anything that was ever gonna like, you know, intentionally or even like come close to
what I did was a nuisance.
Hurting other people.
What I did was a nuisance. You know, kind of disturbing.
I was endangering myself and probably
doing burnouts
public property.
And, you know, did I street race? Maybe a little, allegedly. But on the other hand,
to the speed limit.
Yeah, I had slow as fuck cars.
See,
we were street racing from like red lights to basically the speed limit. And by the time we hit the speed limit, we were running out of road.
Yeah.
You want to arrest me for accelerating too hard to the speed limit?
Yeah, no, I do remember.
Maybe I hit like 75, 80 on the highway.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not that. But I know what you're saying. Yeah, I know what you're saying. But I just, I don't know. I just can't fathom like.
Oh yeah, and the other thing is like if I was street racing with someone, and an intersection was coming and light was red, I'm stopping.
Oh yeah.
Like even as a dumb kid, I was not running a red light
just
trying to
win a race. Yeah, oh yeah. But and again, like even when those alleged races allegedly would have maybe ever happened at some point, probably not on even American soil.
In Mexico.
In Mexico, when we would allegedly do those, like it was one of those things where it was like, is anyone around? Like, is this wide open?
You and me are from the generation where we would race our bikes and have someone at the end of the road watching for cars and then counting down the race. Kids these days don't do that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally, like racing towards a blind turn and making sure that a car wasn't coming. We had a spotter at like 6.
Yeah,
like we had similar things like that before, you know, and again, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but like. Just the attention to life is just so crazy, you know. Like we never intended on like, or never like were committing acts that were like
dare I say somebody we were careful.
Somebody could get hurt. Exactly, like somebody could get hurt. It's like we shouldn't do this. Or like, nah, this is gonna be tight. We're gonna do it. And it's like no, it was like no, like no one even entertained that dumb shit.
Well, I mean, people entertain that dumb shit even in our time.
I mean, not in our
street races. Yeah,
not
in
our
circle.
No, I mean, I've seen plenty of the things go wrong.
A couple of our friends might have been a little reckless, actually, now that I think about it.
Nah, I doubt it. Yeah, but I don't know. But it certainly seems like that culture, just at least what I'm seeing. And again, like also it's the social media aspect of like what we're seeing.
And call me out for like making excuses, but like the shit that we did or our circle of friends did. Yeah. If someone got hurt, that was like. If every fail-safe we had went wrong.
Oh yeah.
And that was completely unintentional. These sideshows and all that, like you're asking for it.
Yeah.
There is no like even attempt at like worrying about someone else's safety or worrying about your own safety.
Yeah. It's the very opposite of being safe is doing like that in an intersection and getting so close to like sidewalks.
There are ways to do sideshows safely. They just don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you could just do it in parking lots.
You could do them in parking lots, or not try to walk into the center of it with people who you've never met in your life before, sliding cars of questionable quality and repair.
Yeah, and so that's a good point. And again, this is another reason why
even Ant said like they don't care about life.
I know, I know, but that's another reason where like I can also relate to what's going on in those pits and like what it must feel like, because I mean, for decades, and I'm sure it's going to be centuries, we have rally races, and people are going to be where? Right on the sidelines.
They're still on the sidelines.
Yeah, and if not, maybe even in the road to just get that picture, and they want to hop back, and like sometimes they just play chicken with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that happens, and like especially where it happens the most is those Baja races like that go through Mexico where there's no regulation. You want to talk about like people dying during races? That stuff's so crazy because sometimes like the drivers just get like so disoriented going through like a desert where like they get off the path and they drive straight through a blind hill and they just drive straight through a campsite.
Yeah.
And it's like they just murdered everyone, which is crazy. And they don't mean to, but again, like lack of regulation, not enough funding to like really pave out a track, like a cut out a track in the desert. Like these things happen.
Yeah.
And so like here's another example of like just a negligence of safety, and yet we all are like, no, it's okay.
It's not on public streets.
Yeah, no, it's fair. But and again, like I think that all the people that are there are asking to be there, just like the people that the Baja
I was gonna
race
say like
or the rally race are all asking to be there.
And it is a tragedy, loss of human life, but no one's gonna go, how could this happen?
Yeah.
In either scenario, it's
they're gonna go because okay, no, I'm covered, I'm good, I figured that out.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. It's like, well, we figured this might happen.
Yeah, we thought it might go this way.
Yeah,
damn. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. That's my kind of my cup of tea on that. I mean, it checks out.
So speaking of deadly racing, the Isle of Man TT.
Oh my God, yeah, the Isle of Man is another one.
Yeah,
but at least like all the things we were also just talking about, the Baja and all that, like it has a long-standing culture with like a huge reputation with an actual like track and sport.
Yeah,
and like
the general public doesn't get roped into this shit.
Yeah,
with the Baja. 500 or Baja 1000 or whatever the race is, or with Isle of Man.
Yeah,
the people who sign up to be there do. And a sideshow, like that's a public road. Anyone could get caught up in that.
Yeah, and
not want to be part of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But the Isle of Man TT.
Yeah, and
how long until that's illegal? Till that race gets banned?
Well, that's what I was gonna say too. Is that like I think that something like that. So Isle of Man TT.
I hope it never does.
Isn't that like
kind of
probably
inevitable.
one of the longest standing traditions of like that area?
Motorcycle racing.
But of course for motorcycle racing. But like
oh yeah, it's
what else goes on in that
like,
area?
That's like the big.
They kind of need it, right? Like they're like, yeah, some people die, but like the money that comes in is really important to the community. I mean, just think about like the hotels.
That's a chain of logic.
Okay, well, so is Mardi Gras. Like, how many people die during Mardi Gras? A lot. How many people, like, break things? Or how much damage is done during Mardi Gras? A lot. They gonna stop? No. New Orleans, sorry. Fuck, I fucked that up.
NOLA.
New Orleans is gonna be a rager during that time. They're gonna mess the whole place up. When they're all done, clean it up, they're gonna be thankful that they got paid. They'll be like, fuck yeah, that's our event.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah. But they banned Group B rallying because it was unsafe.
Really? The same area? Or just, like,
no,
altogether?
Group B completely. That category got banned.
Damn.
Or dissolved or whatever.
What does that do? That just, like, pulls back horsepower out of the cars?
Yeah, it got replaced with other classes, whatever you want to call it, rallying that basically made the car slower.
Yeah.
I do wonder if we've caught back up, though. Technology has a way of doing that. We caught back up and surpassed the 60s after like the 70s and 80s. Everything got choked.
Yeah, when they're like literally, look, we can't make less power.
Yeah,
like we've upgraded and we don't have any more of these old engines. Like, this is the new engine. have to make more power.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like, we're going to be out here just stock Corolla soon. The fucking Corolla's coming out.
I do
400
wonder if they've caught back up. That's not something I've looked into. It's something I've been meaning to look into. But yeah, like Group B rallying. The problem with that was that when they set those regulations, Audi hadn't invented Quattro yet.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Rear-wheel drive. Oh, yeah. Rear-wheel drive
To
was...
the Quattro.
Yeah. Rear-wheel drive was the kind of the natural limiter. Traction.
Yeah.
And then Audi figured out Quattro, and everyone followed suit.
Yeah. They're like, fuck yeah.
And now we've got all-wheel drive with very lax restrictions that allowed these cars to make crazy fucking power.
Yeah.
It was so bad that, like, the drivers would get tunnel vision just trying to focus on, like, where the road went.
Yeah.
And there was also a lot less audience restrictions.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen videos of, like, you know, from inside the Group B car going down the road of, it's like Moses parting the sea of people.
Yeah.
And, you know, the
'Cause they
rally
all-
drivers just have to trust, like, they're going to get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah. And it, like, I think it starts out innocently, but everybody wanting to see the car coming. And, like, there's so many people there that, like, I can't see. I'm going to step out behind this guy. I can't see. I'm going to step out behind this guy. And before you know it, you're like, I'm in the middle of the road so I can see.
Yeah.
Like, you're like,
oh, is it coming?
oh shit. Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
And now, obviously, like, that is different than, like, being in the center of a pit at a sideshow, an illegal sideshow, but, or even on the sidelines. But regardless, I think that there's still the same thing stands, you know? So, not a good idea, folks. Don't do it. Get out of there. Get on a track. It's way funner. Keep your license.
They banned Group B because it was dangerous. So how long until the Isle of Man TT gets banned? Because I saw some video on Instagram or something. I don't know if it's accurate, but given the nature of the race, I wouldn't be surprised. But, you know, they put a bunch of stats on there, and I think it worked out to, like, 2 people die every race or something like that.
Damn. Yeah, and if they're doing, like, 30 races a year or something like that, that's kind of crazy. You know, they have, like, 30 heats of, like...
I don't know how often they do the Isle of Man TT. It might be a yearly thing, one a year.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if they're, like, for every race that they're doing, and, like, they're doing, like, 30 heats of, like, different people, like, different... I'm sure it's different,
Yeah, it looks like there's just one event per year.
Ooh, Monaco Grand Prix. Dude, big to, like, just travel the world and go see, like, Monaco. Like, I don't even care what the fuck's driving. Just to be there at that...
The deadliest year was 2005 when 11 people died.
Fuck.
Ugh.
I mean, 11 out of how many? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just...
2 to 3 people
voting...
die each year on average in the Isle of Man TT. Like, that's... For any racing series, that is ridiculous.
So, is it one... You know what? And I'm embarrassed to say that I don't actually know what that course looks like.
Oh.
How long is it?
It goes around the perimeter of the Isle of Man. They are racing around the island.
Like 10 miles? 5 miles? 2 miles?
Okay, maybe not the whole island, but that.
How long? Damn, there's some bends in that. There was some fucking sharp
And it's
corners.
narrow.
Yeah.
37 miles.
Whoa.
It's a 40-mile race, practically.
All right, so they just go around the whole thing once.
Yes. There's
And-
219 turns in
And
that
out
track.
of every race, on average, 2 people don't
2 to 3
make
people
it.
die. This is a deadly fucking race.
I know.
It's so cool, though.
Because, like, that's 2 people that die. How many people crash? Bro, look that up. Because I can't imagine, like, sitting... Because, like, and they all go out in heats, you know? It's like they're, like...
Yeah, I don't think they all go on.
Yeah, they can't. They would literally be the fucking... The Tour de France. Did the Tour de France finally stop fucking doing that? That's the funniest fucking thing about it. That's the only reason people tuned into the Tour de France, I
You know
think.
Chewy loves the Tour de France?
Yes, I do know that. Shout out Chewy. Chewy, if you're listening, stop riding bikes on the road. So, like, the Tour de France, like, they would all, like, start out. Like, the whole squad, like, 40 of them would just, like, start out at the start line. And they'd be like, all right, go. And then everyone's pedaling as fast as they can. Every time.
Oh, this isn't going over 100 years. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big deal.
Okay, there's no crash average in there. I don't know if I can find that number. Not with a
Yeah,
quick
they
Google
probably
search.
hold that tight.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about
They're
that.
they're like, listen, don't worry about
But
it.
yeah, you
We'll
know,
report
the
deaths.
Nürburgring, which is renowned for being a long track, is like just under 13 miles. This thing is 40 fucking miles.
40 miles.
38 miles.
Yeah, 38. That's wild. I wonder what the time was. What's the fastest time? Has anyone ever done it in a car?
Yes.
Ooh, I'd like to see that. Video time. Holy shit!
136 miles an hour.
an hour. Oh my god, 136 miles an hour is the top speed. Laps, yeah.
16 minutes, 36 seconds.
Holy
And
shit.
last year.
Wow. Can we find Peter Hickman? We just look him up.
See what this absolute chat of him
I know,
looks
let's
like.
just see what this don't worry about him guy. Oh yeah. That dude's stealing your girl.
Yep.
Dude, wheelie up. Damn. I feel like you gotta.
He's off the ground.
Yep. Oh yeah. Dude, I feel like this is one of those things you gotta win and then just never
He's
go
off
back.
the ground at the Isle of Man TT right there. While hard over.
Turning. Yeah. Fuck. Dude, check out Milwaukee getting that sponsorship money.
Sponsorship.
Getting that sponsorship money to work.
And
That's
if you
a
put
good
him on
pick.
a real track, look at him go.
Yeah, dude, bikes are a whole nother. I'm so good on bikes.
I'm good on driving or riding a bike hard.
Yeah.
I will cruise on a motorcycle. I'll get another motorcycle and cruise.
You know what I thought about? Oh, so when Holly, we got rid of her car and I was gonna get her something else. She couldn't decide what she wanted, and like obviously everything that she did want was like really expensive, and I was like, well, we can't do that. We can't take on this much. And I was like, I'm gonna instead, and because she can't decide, and like once she decides, I'm just gonna like buy an Acura Integra. I want an Integra. There was a little piece of me that like for some reason just wanted an Integra, but I couldn't stand the thought of being in something so small again. And I was like,
What?
as a daily driver, just having this
Why
like
are you
this,
looking at it as a daily? You have a work van.
Holly would be driving it.
Fair.
Is what I wanted. Just because they're good little cars, and I was like, if I found a 4-door, that would also be sick. But if it was a 2-door, she would love it. She would love a little Acura Integra. But I was like, oh my god, they're so small. They're little fucking death traps. I can't like put her in that on like the road. But damn, I would. You know, old school DC2.
Bro,
you know,
Both of our Integras didn't have the Honda rod on the fucking quarter panel. Like,
I know.
we should have held on to them.
I know, we fucked up. All I needed was a fender. My fender needed to be actually resprayed, and then that door needed to be fixed on the passenger side.
Mine had a couple dents that needed to be pulled.
I had a dent in the quarter, thanks to I forget your name, who threw the chair at my car. And while I was in the shop, I was pulling the AC out of my car before Memorial break because I was going.
Hudson?
Yeah. Yeah, so I asked Thornton if I could put my car in just so I could remove. I was like, look, all I want to do is just remove the AC out of my car so that I don't like let it go to the atmosphere. Don't you think it's a good thing for you to let me do? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. So I was like, because either way, I'm pulling this engine like over the like Memorial break, and I did it in Fode's garage. R.I.P. Fode. Thank you, Fode. And I went LSV Tech.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So I was like, but I needed to pull the refrigerant out, so I had the car in, and, you know, just had the thing running. And it was literally the last day before we went on break. So everyone's acting a fool. So I'm a senior at that time. The juniors are running around in the shop.
This was after I left.
Yeah.
This is why I don't remember
yeah, right.
Or after I graduated.
But they're messing around, and literally this kid, this is funny as fuck. He literally threw a plastic, like one of those cheap plastic chairs. He threw a plastic chair at another kid, and it bounced off that kid and into my car. And like literally on that beautiful
body line.
Yeah. And like I feel like it's more prominent. I'm more like to the 2001 DC2s, like the late model.
They didn't change the quarters on them.
Dude, I think it has that tail has something different. I can't
It's the rear
prove
bumper.
it. I can't prove it.
It's the rear bumper, and my Integra had your rear bumper.
But you know that.
Yeah, it's the body line that goes over the rear arch, right? The rear wheel arch.
Right into it.
That sucks.
There's no getting that out.
Now,
that metal's already stretched to make that body line.
I think I know why you thought it was cleaner. Because for whatever reason, my Integra was a little more tired than yours.
It's older.
To be charitable.
Yeah, it's just older.
But I do think maybe someone did a little body work back there and didn't get it quite right. Because my car was softer than yours.
Yeah.
Like every single body line on my car was a bit softer.
Yeah.
Like it got a little worn out a little bit over the years.
Or maybe a couple layers of paint.
Yeah. But my Integra was a pre-facelift one.
Yeah.
So I had the different front end, but whoever had my Integra before me had the later model back bumper, which honestly, out of like all the combinations, I kind of like that. It kind of worked for me.
No, my bump, like dude, that 2001 Acura Integra.
Fuck you! I had the best front bumper.
I had the
best front bumper.
I just didn't like that indent that goes across, and like the lights just look extra small.
Your ears was too bug-eyed.
Thank you. Yeah, well, speaking of bug eye, I don't know. I don't want to talk hate.
Oh, you were loud. Just one of my favorite videos about the Isle of Man.
Oh yeah,
from Instagram.
God damn. Good song. Copyright. Fuck off.
That fucking bobble he's doing over 100 miles an hour.
I want to put Subway Surfer on. Oh, yeah, just that the bike hitting the hill and they're just going.
Yeah, because it lands and the front wheel's not
just
perfectly aligned
slightly
with the back.
Just whip,
and it just fucking
whips back.
Yeah, it's. And having had a bike and having gone down because of speed wobbles, that terrifies me.
But also when you have that raw audio, you see them you hear them like they're just not lifting.
No, they're full committed.
Yo. Well, cheers to those gentlemen. Cheers to the
hats off, bro.
Yeah.
I could
hats
never.
Off. Cheers to the Isle of Man.
I don't this is all I can do.
Let's end this podcast. Let's roll this out.
On that bombshell.
On that bombshell. This has been fun. Thank you if you've made it this far, for tuning in.
Tune in next week for my DoorDash recommendations and Facebook.
Forgot to do that.
The Facebook Marketplace segment.
But yeah, thank you again. Cool. Like everything. Subscribe to everything. If you made it, you know what? Yeah, if you made it this far, and you haven't already liked, you haven't already subscribed, I'll do this. I don't normally do this, but I've had some alcohol. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, you made it this far. You made it this far.
My hair.
Like and subscribe. Adrian needs a haircut. See what you guys are doing to him? We need more likes. We need more subscribes.
Then I can afford a haircut.
And then we can afford to start to put together a GoFundMe to get him a haircut.
And then we can make
times are hard. Yeah, look at me. Everything we cut off of him's going on me. So if you want to help some too hairy and not hairy enough men, like, subscribe, help us out. Thanks for tuning into the podcast this long. God damn it.
See you next time.
Thank you.